welcome back to TV Guys, the show that you're going to need your big boy belt for this one. I'm Matt.
I'm Brian.
And we are talking about Friends. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving. It is totally Thanksgiving. Halloween's in the past for all of us.
Every single person that is involved in this production, Halloween is in our rearview mirror. It's definitely not a week away.
Mm-hmm. So, Friends was kind of known as the Thanksgiving show. I mean, other shows did them as well, but they didn't do Christmas every year. The only one they did every season was Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so, and we actually have done an episode. We've done a couple episodes about Friends and Thanksgiving because, I mean, they had 10 Thanksgiving episodes, and I think most of them were really good. But then we did Friends versus How I Met Your Mother with Thanksgiving too.
Exactly. So out of the 10, I was thinking about this earlier today. I think I can make a Mount Rushmore of a top 4 Thanksgiving episodes. I'm curious to see what you think, because obviously this one would be on it for both of us, I think.
Yep, this one and the football one for sure.
Yep, absolutely. So far, we're on the same page.
I think, and it's bad taste now after what happened to them, but I do like Brad Pitt's guest star role.
That's where we differ. That one's not on mine. I think that episode is overrated, honestly. I think they were banking too much on Brad Pitt, and I feel like Brad Pitt either works or he doesn't, and I don't think he really worked in that episode for me.
Agree to disagree. What now I need to remember what, like, you might say one, be like, oh yeah, of course that's the best one. So
I would put Chandler in a box in there.
Okay.
And then also, because of a different guest star, I would put the one with Rachel's sister, played by Christina Applegate.
What all happens? I remember her being there, and like she pierces Emma's ears and stuff like that.
That's the whole.
What else happened in that?
There's 2 main things. Well, Monica is freaking out over everyone using the wedding china, and Chris, I forget what her character's name is. Amy, I think. Amy, she was obsessed about, like, oh, if Ross and Rachel die, she doesn't get Emma, and like the line of who gets Emma with if everybody dies, kind of thing.
Yep. I remember that one. Now I'm trying to think of other ones. I remember the one, because like there's some moments too that, like, you remember the moment and then you fill in the blanks of everything else. Like the one now, I think it's the last season, where they all say that they're going to be at Thanksgiving and that they don't show up.
Yeah.
And then Monica locks them out. And so just the image of all 4 of their heads stuck through the door, staring at them, especially Joey's big eyes.
The heads in the door. Yeah. So going in order, season 1 is the one where Underdog got away, where like Monica was going to be making all these different types of potatoes. They all had different plans, and then they all get locked out, and then the food gets ruined.
Okay.
Season 2, the Thanksgiving was actually just a B plot. It was the one with the list where Ross makes the list about Rachel versus, is it Amy? No. What is her name? The Asian girl.
The Asian
Julie,
girl, yes.
Julie,
there you go.
But the Thanksgiving minor...
more affectionately known as the Asian girl.
The only thing is that was when Monica was making Mocklet, the Thanksgiving chocolate.
Mocklet.
So that one's obviously the bottom, because that one's barely Thanksgiving.
And not even Michael McKean could save a plot as bad as that.
It was Michael McKean, was it? Yeah.
It was.
Season 3 was football. Season 4 is Chandler in a box. Season 5 is the everyone's telling their Thanksgiving stories and talking about Chandler and losing his toe.
Yes, and Phoebe in reincarnated past.
Yes. And that one's got Monica with the turkey on her head, and Chandler says he loves her.
Yes.
And then season 6 is the one we're talking about today. Season 7 is Chandler doesn't like dogs, and Joey's trying to eat the whole turkey by himself.
Okay.
Season 8 is Brad Pitt and the I Hate Rachel Club. Season 9 is Rachel's sister, and then season 10 is Everyone's Late and the Head's in the Door.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know if that warrants a Mount Rushmore, because 4 out of 10, 40%, and one of them's a B plot.
You're still cutting 6 out of 10, I think.
I'd say 5 out of 10.
Anyways, that's kind of the rundown of the Thanksgiving episodes, and I think This one is to me is clearly my favorite.
Yeah, this is not only the best Thanksgiving episode, but it is high up there on terms of best Friends episodes in general. It's not the number one, but I think it cracks the top 10 for me.
I'm also just realizing now that it's a bottle episode. Why did I not realize that before?
I don't know. I've said this before, but it's been a while since I've said it, and I don't think our fans have photographic memories like this. But I am a sucker for episodes where it's like all the secrets come out sort of episodes.
Oh yeah.
And Friends have actually had a couple of those. Like the other one that I can think of was like peeing on the hand.
Oh yeah.
Remember that one?
That was the one at the beach house?
I think so. And then
they came back from the beach house.
Yeah, it wasn't the same sort of like all these story or all these secrets, but it was like the story just kept getting all these new elements, and then finally Joey, yeah, that's right, I stepped up.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, and then there's also one. It's not really secrets; it's them realizing things. It's in the later seasons when they're doing a flashback to college, and the exchange was Ross had kissed Monica because he thought it was Rachel under a pile of coats. She's like, I was the pile of coats. And he's like, you were my first kiss with Rachel? You were my first kiss ever? And Chandler goes, what did I marry into?
Yeah, those are fun, especially like if the writers can do it in a way where, you've already fallen in love with these characters, or at least these characters well, and then to just play with these idiosyncrasies that give them this another layer. How I Met Your Mother did that once with where Marshall's trying to remember his password that time, but like then they're all like having the glass break about each other, and so like Marshall is always singing, and who is it? Lily has like loud chewing, and Robin uses the word literally wrong all the time, like that sort of thing where they keep glass breaking with every single person.
Yeah. What was Barney's?
I mean, Barney wears his heart on his sleeve. Who knows if he's got who knows what his hidden shame is, because his regular shame is just out there for everyone.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, but this isn't our hidden shame. This is Ross's hidden shame. The one where Ross got high, season 6. Brian, take it away.
All right. So the episode starts out with Monica and Chandler at the house, and they're getting ready for Thanksgiving. And Monica is saying, like, oh no, I just found out my parents are coming for Thanksgiving. And Chandler, being a normal person, is like, oh, that's cool. We haven't seen him in a while. That's fine. She's telling him, maybe don't mention that we're dating or that we live together. And then she's revealing that they don't know about them as a couple. And Chandler is confused. Why haven't you told them? And this is when Chandler and us as the audience find out that they don't like you.
This is an episode, whenever I watch it, there's always a part of me, and I didn't do it this time, but there's a part of me that wants to go back to the beginning of Monica and Chandler's relationship and then find all the episodes that the parents guest star in and see what happens in those episodes, to see what they're oblivious to, and if they've even been in those episodes really that much, and etc.
Yeah.
Because to go, year and a half or 2 years pretty much without mentioning this at all, it's funny for what it creates, but it feels like unrealistic, and so they had to create this reason why.
Yeah.
Which works for the scene, but I just kind of want to see, is there a mistake made at any point by the writers?
Yeah. What I'm thinking, like, they obviously haven't had an episode before this where they have such disdain for Chandler, because as soon as they walk in, they're clearly like, oh, it's you. But also, I don't know, prior to this, how much interaction has Chandler specifically had with the Gellers?
Yeah, because I think the Thanksgiving episode the year before that one where it's the flashbacks, we do see Chandler and like his mom, Ross's mom, what is her name? Judy?
Yeah, Judy.
She makes this comment that's like sarcasm, but obviously she's annoyed about like, oh, thank you for bringing your friend who doesn't like Thanksgiving to Thanksgiving dinner, and like this, oh, what are we supposed to do with that sort of thing?
Yes, but also it could have been before that, because we don't know when Ross jumped out the window, or when Ross said that Chandler jumped out the window, because they didn't meet till college. They weren't high school friends, so it had to have been like that period of time where you're at college but you still have a room at your parents' house, kind of thing. So those flashbacks could have been before this incident.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of guest appearances by them. You know, they show up every two or three episodes per season, or so, and so there's not really a reason for them to interact with Chandler until now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blanking. I don't remember all of their appearances off the top of my head. I'm sure there's been some group scenes. Well, like at the funeral for Monica and Ross's grandma, but that wasn't focused on Chandler with them, so that could have easily just been like forgotten about.
Yeah, and I mean that's the same with like Rachel's dad. When he shows up, he has beef with Ross, and they don't get to get along, and there's the butting of the heads. But we don't see a lot of interaction with him with really any of the other friends. So there's no reason really for Rachel's dad and Joey to have a scene together, outside of maybe just a few lines.
Well, the only thing with Rachel's dad I can think of is the one where they had the two parties and they're trying to keep them separate.
Yep.
They said, I think there's a line like, "Oh, I'll go with you to put your coat in the bedroom." He's like, "Yeah, that's a job for two people." But back to this episode. So actually, I realized we called it a bottle episode. Is it technically a bottle episode because there is one scene in Joey and Chandler's apartment, which is still part of like the permanent set. So you could still count it, but it's not all in Monica's apartment.
Yeah, it's part of the permanent set. And I think theoretically, if you're calling it a true bottle episode, you can't have guest stars like Elliot Gould and
Christina Pagos.
Yes. That would disqualify it. But I mean, it is, for a lot of different reasons, it is a bottle episode. It's like even the classic Community bottle episode where they're like lampshading it being a bottle episode, it does end outside of the doors showing the dog parade thing that they all missed, or puppy parade or whatever. And that would kind of technically be a different spot they had to go film that, even if it was very low cost to do so.
That's true. And it had the Dean, who at that point was not a recurring character, was not a regular yet until the next season.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think anyone's going to chastise us for calling this a bottle episode because it's close enough.
Yeah. So then Chandler gets Monica to agree. Oh, great. You're going to bring your parents over and we're going to tell them tonight. We're going to come out as a couple. And she, reluctantly agrees. And then you're kind of setting up the thing for the episode. Then it jumps to Chandler's going over to Joey's apartment. Or hit. That's right. Joey's living with Rachel now, right? No. Joey's living with Janine.
Yep, it's Janine. And
there's
Joey,
also Janine.
That's a big part of this episode.
Yeah, Janine is also a guest star in this episode. I forget about Janine. She was kind of a nothing character, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, she only has really the one scene in this episode, even though everything's about trying to get to Janine's party. She's just in it for that one scene of like, hey, here's exposition. The end. See you later.
But I could easily just forget that Janine existed in Friends. If I'm listing off Friends characters, I very likely could forget that she existed.
I mean, a lot of these like minor dating characters, like you said, Julie, way back from season 2.
Yeah, but think of it, Julie and Janine, they're both in multiple episodes because she's in this one, she's in the one that she was in, and she's in the New Year's episode. So that's at least 3.
Or I easily could forget about Chandler's creepy roommate from season 1.
Oh, Eddie,
that's it.
But Eddie is a one-off, though.
I thought he was in a couple episodes. I thought he was in an arc.
Was he?
Oh. I thought he was there for a couple episodes, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Anyways, so Joey... I'm getting these names mixed up. Anyways, Chandler goes over to Joey's apartment, and Joey and Ross are playing PlayStation, and he's kind of trying to... He's doing that thing where he's talking to them and they're like not listening at all. And he's saying, yeah, we're just playing the games. He's trying to find out from Ross why his parents don't like him. And Ross is no help.
He's kind of paying half attention, but he's also kind of like not telling him like the mean thing. It's like, oh, do your parents not like you? Yeah, no, they like you. Of course they like you. Well, Monica says they don't like me. Yeah, they don't really like you. But I do like the follow-up thing. It was like, why don't they like me? Well, maybe it's because, and then starts to... If people don't know, they shouldn't guess.
Oh yeah, that's a good part. Before that, Monica starts listing off like, well, maybe it's because you leave your shoes out everywhere. Maybe it's because of this. And Chandler goes, is this why they don't like me, or is this why you don't like me? He's listing like couple things that his parents wouldn't experience.
And it's great to be able to get double mileage out of that joke, to start doing it the same way and have a different punchline that is actually, I think, funnier than even the first punchline.
Yeah. Do you think they should have done a third though? Because it's like the rule of 3 in jokes, but they don't do it. It's only Monica and Ross.
They could have. I just don't know where it would have gone. And I think the punchline of Chandler saying that in the second time was really good. And I don't know what's a third one that would be even better.
Well, I think that would still be the third punchline. I think maybe it could have been Joey, because Joey's the only other one who's like close enough to Chandler to have a list. But Joey's list would be like, what is he? Maybe because you threw away their leftovers that one time. That would be a Joey reason.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But after that conversation, that's when Janine comes in and she has like her 4 lines.
Something like that, yeah. So basically, she comes in to be a plot device and say, "Hey, do you guys want to come to my Thanksgiving? We don't. All my hot dancer friends are going to be there, and where there's no food, so we're just going to get drunk." I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what Ross and Joey hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that scene ends, after Janine kind of gives that, and Ross is kind of like stumbling over. I have to go to my sisters. It's really nice. I grew up with a sister. It helped me understand women. You should tell your friends that. And Janine's like, okay. She leaves. And Joey, how you got 3 women to marry you, I'll never know.
And I'm glad that was lampshaded, because that Ross's exchange with Janine was so awkward and cringy.
Yeah. And he has a lot of awkward exchanges with people.
He does.
It's David Schwimmer being awkward with people is some of the best things that Ross does. And it's so much funnier when Paul Rudd is somehow able to one-up him in the late season when they're supposed to hang out and Paul Rudd is trying to stop him from answering the phone.
Yeah.
I like to be able to out-weird Ross with the energy that Paul Rudd has was really good for the episode.
Yeah. I love when Mike just jumps over Ross to answer the phone, and Ross is like, I don't know what just happened here.
he answers the phone and says, okay, it's for you, and hands it over. And before talking on the phone, Ross just has to assess the situation.
Also, a plot line you can't do anymore because no one has landlines anymore.
That's true. I mean, there's plenty of these plots that you can't do anymore. Like the classic, so-and-so is lost, and we need to find where they're at. Like, even when they did that in The Office, they had to be like, oh, here's Michael forgot his phone, and here's why he's unreachable, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's all the preamble to the Thanksgiving. So now we start the main part, which is the actual Thanksgiving day. And it starts with setting up Rachel's plot, which, had we mentioned before that Rachel was going to do the dessert, or did this kind of just come out of nowhere?
No, this was the introduction of it. Okay. Rachel doing the dessert was in this scene.
Yeah.
First mention.
And then just saying that Monica, like, Phoebe's like, oh, well, Monica, what are you going to make in case Rachel's is so good that there's not enough for everybody? And Monica doesn't have a backup, which I always thought that was such a non-Monica thing to not have a secret backup. Monica is such a control freak. Oh, yeah. And it's Thanksgiving. It's like her showtime. I think Monica would have, like, I think she wouldn't have told Rachel because she didn't want to hurt her feelings, but I think she would have pre-made something and have something hidden somewhere. Like, she'd open up a cupboard and there's a cake or something.
Yeah, this is 100% out of character for Monica. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Oh, what they could have done is Monica did that, had a secret dessert, and somehow Joey found it and ate it before she got to use it. That's how they could have done it.
There you go. That would have been in line with her character. Would have been in line with both of their characters, if we're being honest.
Yeah, well, that's why I said Joey. Like, no one else, that wouldn't have fit with anybody else. Maybe Jack, but
the other thing could have been if, like, Monica was so overwhelmed. And even then, like, Monica will push herself even past her breaking point, but to maybe be so overwhelmed with what she's doing that she doesn't have the ability to do the dessert too.
Yeah.
That's more of a stretch because, again, Monica's a can-do attitude sort of person. Yeah. She made candies for the entire building where she didn't like sleep at all for a week.
Yeah, or when she moved into Joey and Chandler's apartment and she spent like 4 days making it look nice.
Yeah.
And then the Gellers arrive. This is when the episode really takes off. And of course, right away, Chandler is trying to be like, he's trying to be overly nice when people are trying to really put themselves out there. Oh, let me grab your coat. Oh, is it snowing out there? No,
we did right before. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off from a really good Jack and Chandler moment about the dandruff.
Yeah,
I did want to highlight that just right before that. We don't have to talk much about it, but we did have Joey and Ross enter first.
Oh, he's right. Yeah,
and there's not much about this apart from them putting the stakes on the table of why they're wanting to go and then being shot down like, no, you have to stay here. And so they feel the conflict that they can't just leave even if they want to.
Yeah. And I feel like this whole thing was mainly just written in to give Joey something to do because Ross is involved in the Monica Chandler stuff.
Yeah.
Where they needed something for Joey.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes sense for him to have Ross who wants to do it too, because there's some good back and forth with them, like the line I said earlier, or the Joey like, oh, I really, really want to go, and Ross is, dude, we were good.
Which I don't think they were. I think Joey definitely overreacted, but I don't think anyone was going to be like, all right, bye, we'll see ya.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But back to this, yeah. Joey or Chandler, without realizing it, just points out Jack having dandruff because he thought it was snowing outside.
Yeah. And then there's the dissolve right away after that line, and they're eating dinner, and so we get the callback, even though it's like 10 seconds later, because Jack says something about like, oh, this is so good, you should do this for a living to Monica, and so Chandler plays up the laughter and points and like, oh, that's so funny, and Jack is just confused. Like, okay, I have dandruff. There's no need to laugh and point.
Yeah, and Monica's like, he was laughing at your joke. My joke wasn't funny.
There's good awareness of like those are true dad jokes. The people who tell dad jokes that know your intention isn't to get a laugh out of it. It's to get a groan. And this was before dad jokes were popular. And so Jack was just, this is who I am. I'm just going to say this, even though it's not funny.
Yeah. I've gotten, so the other day we visited Sabrina's sister, and I got a couple dad jokes. They think I'm saying something normal, and I hit the punchline on them. And again, it's like, it's not a laugh, it's a groan. One of them was the one I told you about. I said, yeah, candy's getting so political these days. The candy bar has a pronouns of her, she. And they're like, oh, great. That's terrible.
I love to tell dad jokes. Sometimes he laughs.
You've told me, I'm pretty sure you've done that joke on this podcast, and I still laughed.
You know how you can tell when a joke becomes a dad joke? Once it becomes apparent.
You've been practicing these, haven't you?
No, this was a birthright, man. I had this in my DNA from being a kid. Actually, like, I was in college in a class and I said one of these jokes or whatever, and one of the teachers just goes, you are destined to be a dad. I'm like, yeah, I know. My jokes right now are wasted at 20 and 21, but now that I've got a kid, or I've got 4 of them actually, I can make all these jokes as much as I want. And you know what? No one can stop me.
And have you, in true fashion, embarrassed them with your dad jokes?
I just embarrass them. It doesn't matter if it's with dad jokes or not. I just embarrass them as much as I can.
Yeah. And one last one is, did you hear that the temperatures in Argentina are dropping? They're bordering on Chile.
If you would have paused and asked, hey, where are you going with this? I think I would have gotten pretty close.
Mm-hmm. That's why, we were talking about dad jokes. You know, you're on alert for you. I can't trick you into thinking it's that I'm randomly talking about the temperature in Argentina.
I just love to like do. I love to do the bait and switch of jokes where you think you're going to be saying, like, I actually literally was today thinking about the bait and switch of a great line from Aladdin. I love Robin Williams. We all love Robin Williams. That movie is his movie, no matter what. Even though the rest of the stuff is good, Robin Williams is the best part of the movie, hands down. And so, like, when Aladdin's fighting Jafar in the last one, and he's cheering for Aladdin, Jafar's like, "Whose side are you on?" And he goes, Jafar, he's our man. If he can't do it, great! Love that line.
Yeah, you're right. That is Robin Williams. I mean, okay, I know the voice of Aladdin, but outside of Robin Williams, you ask anybody, name one voice actor other than Robin Williams in Aladdin.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Okay, Gilbert Gottfried they might get. He's such an iconic. They might say Steve from Full House, but I don't think as many people would know Scott Weinger as the name.
That's true.
Yeah.
And they might know Jim Cummings from literally all Disney animated films.
Well, Jim Cummings is one of those people, like, unless you're a voice actor fan, regular, like, casual fans don't know the name unless you know that much, you know, like, whereas Robin Williams is an on-screen talent.
I like that he didn't have to, like, really hide his voice in this one. You know, like, he's like, I'll just do the Pete voice. Okay, that's fine. Jim, you have 300 voices at your disposal. You can reuse one every now and then.
Exactly. All right, so back to the episode. So we have Chandler is not making a good impression on the Gellers. And
it's funny, like, I know you're trying to get us back into it, but I we just talked about voice actors. Mm-hmm. Animated movies were very different back then than they are now. We're like, now, like, let's try and get all these different high-profile actors into our movies so you can recognize their voices. And they didn't do that back then. They had every now and then. Like, the most notable one that they had before that was Oliver and Company, when they got Billy Joel to be in the movie. And then they got Angela Lansbury for Beauty and the Beast, but even then there wasn't too many other, like, Jerry Orbach and stuff like that. But those aren't A-listers. And so getting Robin Williams for Aladdin was such a huge deal. And he only agreed to be in Aladdin if they weren't going to, like, make the movie about him. So he's like, here's what's going to be in my contract. Do not turn my character into a toy. Do not use him for more than a third of the poster. Genie can't be bigger than a third of the poster or whatever. And so, like, that initial poster, if you remember it, where it's just got, like, the lamp and his hand holding it, and there's, like, a wall of text there. Mm-hmm. Like, that was the original one because it was Robin Williams' wishes, but then they just couldn't help themselves. And Disney marketed the crap out of Genie, and he's like, that's not what this is about. I don't want to steal this story. I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it because I want to. And so he got so ticked off at Disney, he's like, I will never work for Disney ever again. And so, like, that's why when they did the sequel, they switched his voice with the guy who voiced Homer Simpson.
Dan Castellaneta,
yeah. And so then once Jeffrey Katzenberg left Disney, went over to DreamWorks to make Shrek, and, you know, he's mad at Disney himself. Disney was like, hey, Robin, can you please work with us again? We're so sorry. The guy you hated, Jeffrey Katzenberg, he's gone. And here's a Picasso painting that we bought for you as an apology. Please come back to work with us. And he did for the third Aladdin.
Yeah. Which is a crazy story.
All right. So, Ross and drugs.
Yes.
How about that?
So you mentioned dinner, like, they really skip over dinner. Dinner's not a big part of this episode at all. Dessert is a part of it, but all of a sudden we're past dinner. And one thing I've noticed, Phoebe must be the world's quickest napper in the world, because she has 2 naps in the form of this episode.
Yep.
And we'll get to the second one later on, but, like, all of a sudden she's like, ooh, I just had a dream about Jack Geller. He's a dream hunk, and he was... what was the first one? He was fighting her. He was saving her from something.
Yeah, he's a firefighter.
Oh, that's right. He's a firefighter. And this is where you have them saying, like, he's like Jack Geller, dream hunk. And Rachel goes, oh, I always think of him as Jack Geller, and walks in while you're changing.
That is not a joke that will be made today.
No.
That's a 90s joke.
And actually, I just realized this now. So if you watch this episode on HBO, like I did, I always used to watch this episode on the DVDs. So I always have them in my mind. And the DVDs are the extended versions, and there's scenes that are cut and jokes that are cut and things that are cut from the episode. And the end of this episode had a joke that followed up on that I today when I watched it, I recognized at the end, I could tell that the tag at the very end was cut short. I'm like, my muscle memory tells me there was something else to the scene, but I couldn't remember it. And now I just remembered it. At the very end, Janine comes back in and says something like, "Oh, nice to see you guys." Then he says to Jack, "Oh, sorry, you walked in on me while I was changing," and he's like, "Oh yeah." They brought that joke at the end, but then that ended up getting cut from HBO.
I think it got cut for the on-air one too, would be my guess.
Probably as well. But like I watched, the way I watched Friends was on the DVDs, so I have all the extended versions just burned in my mind. So when I see a joke getting cut, my mind, like somewhere in the back of my mind is like all of the Friends episodes played, and they're like, wait, we're missing a piece.
Yeah.
So back in the present, we have, Phoebe comes in, she has her dream about Jack, and all of a sudden now she's got a crush on him for the first half of this episode. And then then it starts with the interrogation of Chandler. And Chandler is starting to suck up, and he's saying, "Oh, I always think, I always so admired Ross, and I think how a man turns out is a reflection of his father." It's like, I think so too. What does your father do? Which he walked into that one. It's like, he's a headliner of a gay burlesque show.
More turkey, Mr. Chandler.
And he's just putting his foot in his mouth. And this is what makes the turn at the end of the speech so much better, because you think there's no chance he's digging himself out of this hole. Between the dandruff and this line, this is about, and then it comes even worse, talking about Judy Geller's tight sweater. Like, "Oh, I love your sweater. It's cream colored and tight." Not that I'm looking at the tightness of your sweater, and just like you digging the hole.
What's the matter with him? I think he's stoned again.
Yeah.
But the tightness of the sweater happens. Like there's the thing about the dad and the burlesque, and then there's the tight sweater. In between that, is the continuation of the Rachel, Phoebe, and like all of them with the dessert.
Yes, I was going to get into that. Yeah, okay. I may have jumped around. I thought it was Ross and Joey, I think, first, who go over to Rachel and ask about the trifle she's making, because Joey wants
those two.
Because Joey wants to speed her up, and she starts saying, like,
goes through the layers.
Yeah, it's like, and first it starts normal. Oh, it's custard, and then jam, and beef sautéed with peas and onions, and then she keeps going, and they're like, what was that one? Oh, the beef. Yeah, I thought it was weird too, but then there's minced meat pie, so people just put weird things in their desserts. Which I'm not by any means a good cook, but I think I would recognize a dessert and a beef dish being mixed together.
You'd hope so.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's why Rachel's the one who's making it, because I don't think anyone else would make that mistake. I think, sure, Joey's stupid, but also at the same time, he wouldn't be making dessert in the first place.
Joey would eat all the ingredients before he get a chance to make them.
He's not Garfield. I mean, I know his stomach's empty, but
he kind of is Garfield. I mean, they flanderize him in the later seasons, but the Thanksgiving episode in season 7, his subplot is literally make a giant turkey and I'll eat it, I promise.
Right after this, when Rachel leaves, there's the weirdest joke of this. Weirder than the walking in on me changing joke was noticing that the pages of the recipe book are stuck together, and Joey Chandler looks over at him mad. Like, what does Joey think happened? I mean, I know what he thinks happened, quote unquote, but like, what situation led to this? Like, he's just looking at food and just gets so overwhelmed with love and lust. Like, that's a Joey thing. He would get overwhelmed. Again, it's a weird joke.
It was weird. IMDb claims that the producers think it's the dirtiest joke in all of Friends, and I don't. There's a lot of contenders. That's 10 years of Friends to comb through. It would definitely be up there for sure.
Yes, but they go past that. As they're talking about it, she made a half English trifle, half a shepherd's pie, and so they decide, well, she can't start all over because it's taken her this long.
Yeah.
Also, in a practical sense, when I'm watching this, I'm like, would she have the ingredients to start over? It's a big trifle.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I'm going to make something, I make sure that I have exactly what I need, maybe a little bit more if, like, the container's bigger. But I don't buy enough for me making a mistake and then having to start over and doing it again with the second. No one just has that much custard or jam laying around. I mean, Monica's got plenty of stuff, but no one's going to have that much unless they're specifically going to use it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's one of those you kind of have to suspend your disbelief. And she never says she's going to remake it. I think they're just panicking because they want to go with the dancers.
Yep.
Actually, we were a little bit out of order because after the joke about the pages being stuck together, that's when they have the exchange about Judy's sweater. And then when she says, I think he's stoned again, that's what triggers it in Ross's brain. And then Ross pulls Chandler into the bedroom.
Oh, I love the quick urgency. Dude, I need to talk to you for a second.
Yeah. And then, first it's Chandler, and then Monica goes in because she says, they're trying to see if Chandler's trying to get you stoned. And this is when the reveal is that Ross smoked pot in college, and then to hide it from his parents, he claimed that Chandler had gotten high and jumped out the window. Solid lie, I say sarcastically. But also, if your parents are Jack and Judy, maybe they buy it.
Yeah. What about all that Friends Forever stuff? I don't know. I was all high.
Yeah. There's a lot of good quotes in this. And this is why we picked this episode. This is a lot of good quotes in here.
Exactly. So I like that. Yeah, obviously Monica comes in. We got to have the scene. Monica, Chandler, and Ross. Now it's 2 versus 1 with Ross. Yeah. And so it's both of them. You've got to tell them. Come on. It's like, it's been this long. You got to tell him. And so he starts, okay, well, so I won't tell him it was Chandler who got me high. It was, now who should I say it was? You, Ross. Just say it's you. All right. So then who should I say tricked me into doing it?
Yeah. And they make a point to
like
say,
a big kid.
They make a point to say, like, you don't still do it. Do you think that was like illegal? Like, we don't want to promote smoking or something on the network, or?
Yeah, I especially because, marijuana wasn't nearly as accepted as it is nowadays. And so that was a lot more of a PG-13 storyline. Even, like, I know now today it still is a PG-13, but it's a harder storyline to pass in the 90s than it was today.
Yeah. It's kind of like how, and again, okay, bingo card, in Power Rangers, whenever they're teaching little kids how to do karate, they're always like, remember, you don't attack people. If someone punches you first, that's different, but you don't throw the first punch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then is when Joey finds out from Rachel that she's really like insecure about it. And this is when he goes from just wanting to hurry her up to actually trying to help her and feeling not wanting her to get embarrassed. That's when he calls Ross over and they have the great, oh, are you sure? I can't, saying to Ross, come over here. Oh, I have to tell my parents something. Can it wait? It can't? Okay. And then walks over.
Yep. So Joey and Ross. Okay, here's another David Schwimmer thing, because there's a line that David Schwimmer has that the line is bad, but David Schwimmer is fantastic, and he's, as I've said many times before, he makes so much with so little.
Yeah.
And so when Joey calls him over, he says, I think we have to tell Rachel she messed up her dessert. And Ross says, what is with everybody? It's Thanksgiving, not Truth Day. Like, what a stupid joke, but the way he sells it makes it work.
I think the joke, the line works because that's a realistic line. Because in real life, you don't have like the most eloquent words all the time. Clearly, as you can listen to our almost 200 episodes of this podcast, we don't always have the most eloquent words.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. And
I talk good, muchly.
Very, very often, sir. And Ross is so frazzled. I mean, he's dealing with this, and right after he's dealing with having to come out with this like 20-year lie about the pot, and he feels it coming from all angles. And he's like, what is this? What Truth Day? Like, I buy it, and it's one of those things where his pain is funny because it's not real pain, and really he's bringing it all upon himself.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you read this line, read it without thinking of how he says it, like, this doesn't read as a funny joke. Like, the writers write this, and I can put myself in Ross's or in David's shoes and just be like, how do I say Truth Day? All right, well, I'll try and make a meal out of this.
Yeah. Or, I mean, it's kind of like how there are so many Saturday Night Live sketches that are really good, but they're good because of physical humor. I'm thinking, how did they bring this in a script form to anybody and get it approved? Because on paper, it's not funny. But you get, Bill Hader or Chris Farley or these guys doing their thing, and then it becomes funny.
All right. So these guys are talking, and they decide we need to spare Rachel's feelings. So because we don't want her to remake this, and because we want to get out of here, and we don't want her feelings hurt, we're just going to tell everyone what's going on except for Rachel.
Yeah.
And we're all going to pretend that it's really good.
Yeah, and it's the best thing we do. And I love that we don't have to see them explaining everybody. We know what's going on. It's more of a show don't tell. So they have when they cut to Joey explaining it, he's already gotten everybody the main gist of it, and he's saying like, "Oh, if you want help with this, you can rub your stomach or say, that's good." And Chandler, I'm not paying for those acting classes anymore. And while this is going on, Ross and Rachel, obviously she's going to think he's trying to get back together, but what does he even say? He's like,
he's like, oh, well, I mean, he's just being awkward. Like, so Thanksgiving, huh? Holiday season is upon us. And you look nice today. And then she's like, all right, well, I see where this is going.
Yeah. Okay, this is how we've talked about many times. Matt, you are a good improviser. And Nick, don't you have like an improv group that you'd like do shows with?
I do. Slap Happy Comedy. You can book us. Go on slaphappycomedy.com and we can come to your event and do some hilarious. If you like this, you'll love Slap Happy Comedy.
You're welcome for the plug.
Yeah. I like you're like, oh, he's going off. All right, let me just
I set it up for you. Okay. I am not a good improviser. So Ross improvising that scene, that's how I would be improvising. And that's why I'm not Matt's partner in Slap Happy Comedy.
But what's funny is this podcast is 90% improv. We have, and I'm using the hardest of air quotes here.
Yeah.
We have a script, but there's so much of it that's just us talking. It's really not planned at all. We're not scripted here. And so I'm bad at improv. Well, maybe we shouldn't have a podcast, but we do.
It's a different kind of improv. This is just having a conversation. I can rant about TV shows all day long. That's why I'm doing this. But making a joke is like, oh, I'm a plumber on Mars. Oh, how are your aliens?
How I'm a plumber on Mars. How are your aliens? They're pretty good, but I called you up for the pipes. So,
well, I was trying to say alien pipes, and then you laughed. See,
just where your mind went for that. What you think improv is pretty great. All right, so you're a plumber on Mars. Got it. I know my motivation. Ask about the aliens.
My experience with improv is like Michael Scott's improv group or stuff like that.
Someone else's fake class is your experience with improv. Got it.
Yes.
All right, where are we at?
Okay, this is when it's time to serve the bad trifle.
Yes.
So everyone's got the thing. And I love how everyone ends up having an excuse to leave the table. So it starts with Monica, and Monica gets a whole bite, and you can tell it's awful. And of course, she uses Joey's trick. She goes, this is good. And I wrote them up. So Monica says she's going to go to the bathroom so she can look at it in the mirror while she eats it, as we all do.
Although hers was the last one. Chandler was the one who started it off.
Chandler said, I'm going to go eat it on the balcony so I can enjoy the view whilst, and he hit that, I eat it. And Judy...
That feels like a Matthew Perry
100%.
enunciation.
Yeah. Judy Geller goes into Monica. I'm going to call my friend and tell her how good it is from Monica's room. And Jack goes, I'll help you dial. And Phoebe got it from the beginning because she's a vegetarian.
Yep.
It's like, oh, no, I can't have any. And then Joey actually eats it. Joey doesn't need an excuse. Joey likes it. And then Ross ends up having to wolf it down in like 2 seconds to avoid Rachel from tasting it. Which,
because once Monica leaves, Rachel isn't a moron, even though it's a sitcom. Yeah. She's not a moron. Like, what is going on? Is it not good? Let me try it. And she reaches for Ross's plate and just, oh no! It's like, it's all gone. So good.
Yeah. And I had a couple of thoughts back to back. Like, first it was, why didn't she try to get a bite of Joey's? But even though it hasn't been established yet, there's the whole Joey doesn't share food. Maybe they already know that.
Yep.
But also,
why she didn't have enough for her.
Exactly. Not only that, but if you're making food, you would try it yourself as you're in the process of cooking it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you? But maybe Rachel doesn't. Maybe it's just how inexperienced Rachel is with cooking or baking or whatever it is.
And I know it's a sitcom. There's things that are exaggerated and they only happen for plot convenience reasons. But you're right. She would have tried it at this point.
Mm-hmm. And this was another classic line when Ross and Joey are talking, and Ross, that tastes like feet. And Joey goes like, what do you mean? Custard good, jam good, meat good.
I think I really like the whole interchange because Ross is like, he's pained when he says that. Tastes like feet.
Yeah.
And then Joey just confidently, I like it.
Yeah.
You like it? Are you kidding? What's not to like? Custard good, jam good, meat good.
I wonder what are Joey's taste buds like? Does he actually taste anything anymore?
No, he's Garfield, remember?
Oh, that's right. He is Garfield. So this is where I'm talking about Phoebe's second nap. So if I'm correct on the timeline, she starts serving the trifle. That's when Phoebe says, oh, I can't have any. And she leaves the table. She must go into nap. She must be napping in Rachel's room because Jack and Judy go into Monica's room, right? But she only has a couple of minutes because everyone goes off, splits their different areas to dish the food. And then right after the meat good, jam good, custard good, Phoebe comes back out and she's already fallen asleep and hadn't been asleep long enough to have a full dream where Jack cheated on her and she was saved now by Jacques Cousteau. Like the timeline, Jacques I think is
beat up Jack.
Yeah.
And then he took her diving and introduced her to his pet seahorse.
Who was totally hitting on her, but that is so not going to happen. I just think that the timeline, you have to, the suspension of disbelief is not, there wasn't enough time for that to actually happen.
No. And I know that dreams go faster in your head than they do, but like she has to excuse herself, get comfortable, lay down, fall asleep, have the dream, get up, and come back out looking the way that she did and not like hair all messed up or whatever.
Yeah. And she has to be comfortable enough to just go into Rachel's room and take a nap.
Which that is not as big of a disbelief because she's comfortable around these guys.
Yeah, that's true. And at this point, no, it's a spare bedroom because Rachel's living with Phoebe now.
Look at that.
Chandler and Monica live together. Rachel went to live with Phoebe and because it's later this season that Phoebe's apartment burns up, and that's when Rachel goes with Joey.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So she shares the dream.
Yep.
Jack comes out and gives that, I'm glad I wore the big belt today.
Like 10 minutes ago, that line like that would have floored me. Now, nothing. Well, not nothing. I am still a woman.
For the uninitiated, that is Phoebe's line, not Brian saying it.
I didn't.
You gave no indication you were quoting it. And I just like to think, I just like to think that's how you really feel.
Well, two things. One, I think people listening to this episode probably know that because that's a famous line. And two, if people want to think I have a thing for Elliot Gould, let them think that.
I mean, he is Elliot Gould.
That's true.
Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Ocean's 11. I know what he looks like with deep robe cleavage. All right, so that's something I said. All right, so now we get back to the crux of Monica and Ross and fessing up about the drugs.
Yeah,
and in front of the Gellers.
So I forget how it starts, but what was the preamble to Monica like just blurting out, "Ross smoked pot in college"?
Because he's still trying to stall, and he's like, I was thinking about maybe writing a letter. She's like, all right, well, you've had your chance. I'm going to go tell him. She's like, what? What? And she walks up, Mom, Dad, Ross smoked pot in college.
Yep. And I wrote down the order of everything that comes out. So first it's a Ross and Monica back and forth. Ross smoked pot in college, and then she tops it by saying, and the mailman that you got fired for stealing your Playboys, that was Ross too. And then
Ross does try to explain in this time where it's like, you're such a tattletale, but it's like, all right, Mom and Dad, remember the time I walked to my room, smelled marijuana? And they both look at Chandler. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, well, I told you it was Chandler who was smoking the pot, but it was me. I'm sorry. And then Monica, was like, oh, that's not enough. I'm going to jump in with the mailman thing. Mm-hmm. Which, when it cuts back, the mailman, the guy you fired, he didn't steal your Playboys, Ross did. And it cuts back to David Schwimmer's face, and just this wide eye, like deer in the headlights look as he's staring at his dad. It's a good reaction shot.
Yeah, because Ross, they came out of nowhere. Ross was not expecting that.
Exactly.
And then Hurricane Gloria didn't break the porch swing. Monica did. And then Ross hasn't worked in the museum in a year. And then here's the big one. Monica and Chandler are living together.
And then Monica's, Ross married Rachel in Vegas and got divorced again.
Yes, and that was the biggest again. Like, she really hit that really hard.
Yep.
And this is when everyone else gets their one line, except for Chandler. Is like the only one who gets to be sane in this moment. Yep. It's Phoebe goes, I love Jacques Cousteau. And Rachel goes, I wasn't supposed to put beef in the trifle. And then just so he has something to say, Joey goes, I want to go.
And the line of the episode, Judy, is, that's a lot of information to get in 30 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, she's not in a ton of episodes to begin with, but that is her best line of the whole series, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then she goes into full mom mode and like puts everybody in their place. Like, Joey, if you want to leave, just leave. And then Rachel, no, you weren't supposed to put beef in the trifle. And then she gets really intense. It was not good.
And then nicer to Phoebe. I'm sorry, but I think Jacques Cousteau is dead.
Yeah. And then Monica, why do you think you'd have to hide your relationship? Well, because you hate Chandler. And we kind of figured about the porch swing. I love him adding that part.
And then just the disappointment. Ross, drugs, divorced again? All of this is good. To Jackson, what happened, son? And Ross, I got tricked into all those things.
Yeah. And this is where, like, the beginning of the episode, Chandler is bombing with them, like everything, the sweater, the dandruff, and everything. And then she turns to Chandler, who's the only one who doesn't have any part in any of these rants. And she goes, Chandler, you're a wonderful human being. Like, you've stuck by Ross through the drug problem, and now you've taken on Monica too. Yeah.
And so they just both hug him and say, thank you. No, thank you. And then they Jack turns again to Monica and Ross, like, I don't know what I'm going to do about the two of you. And I just love, this is such a great capstone and everything. Chandler, I'll talk to them.
Yeah. And from then on out, I mean, again, Chandler gets more interaction with the Gellers going forward. But I love that now them hating Chandler isn't an ongoing thing for the rest of the series.
Yeah. And I mean, there's some good, even like Jack and Chandler moments, like when they're trying to bond and they go to the spa or the
steam room.
Room. And so then, of course, he has the glasses fog up and he accidentally sits on Jack. But then going back to it, I really loved the little interaction. It was like, when I first met Judy's parents, I told them I was a lawyer. Oh, what'd they do when you found out? They never did. So if you hear me giving legal advice, just nod along.
Yeah. And then there's a line I know you loved. This is to Ross at the wedding. Like, oh, we're playing hide and seek. I can't tell you this, son. That's cheating.
There's also the awkwardness of at the hospital when Rachel's giving birth and he stumbles upon them
in
the closet and then starts trying to give them coitus advice for getting pregnant.
And then at one point he throws a pamphlet under the door. It turns out to be somebody else. It's like, can I get my pamphlet back? And the people, whoever's in the closet, actually do slide his pamphlet back out.
It's nice of them.
And, okay, this is a little bit off topic. It's not about Chandler. I love also when Emma's being born and Jack's like, my first grandchild, and Ross, what about Ben? Of course, I meant my first granddaughter.
That's a fun little thing from like the writers of like, we kind of forgot about Ben. Cole Sprouse got too old. We're done.
Technically, he's still alive. Yeah. I don't think we see Ben after like season 6 or 7, something like that.
Yeah.
The Holiday Armadillo, I think, is his last one.
That makes sense. I believe that.
Yeah. So then this is where the only thing I have left is the tag at the end where everyone's talking about the trifle and Joey's like, nope, I got yours and I got yours too. And Joey went around and ate everybody's food. And this is when they had the cut joke about Janine coming back in and saying that Jack walked in on her while she was changing. And I think the joke with that also is that somehow Jack knew to go across the hall into the other bedroom in the other apartment. Like he has some sort of nudity sixth sense or something.
Nudity sixth sense.
Yeah.
It's, I can't remember. It's either Scrubs or I think it's Scrubs with Todd where like someone says something about like lesbians kissing. And then you just hear like someone just running. All of a sudden, Todd from around the corner runs up. What are you guys talking about? Was that Scrubs, or am I confusing it with like? I also have it in my head of Barney from How I Met Your Mother, but I think it's a Todd one.
I think that's the Todd.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we'll have to do a podcast about the Scrubs reboot when that comes out.
We'll also have to do one about the Everybody Loves Raymond reunion coming up.
True. Although that one's not in universe, but it's like the retrospective. But we'll still have to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that is the episode, and it's an episode that really does well with the setup and payoff because, like I had said, like you just kind of read from the moment of, okay, I'm going to tell mom and dad about your drugs and goes over and reveals everything. Mm-hmm. From that moment on, like all of this has been built up really well. Mm-hmm. And just I love Jacques Cousteau. The trifle. Oh, I want to go. And Judy dealing with it. And even his like, I was tricked into all those things as another callback. They set up this moment super well and it pays off in a very satisfying way. And you hit on it too with Chandler, even from an emotional side. It's not like an emotional moment, but it is like you feel better for Chandler because you want him to be liked by her parents. He didn't do anything wrong to them.
Yeah.
So for there to be justice at the end of like, oh, we actually love you. Like you have been there for them. Thank you for being a good friend. For that turn, it feels really good to see that.
And this is where another thing that really works for is when they're writing this episode, I imagine they had the main thing about, Ross, Monica, and Chandler with the drug thing, and they had the B plot of Rachel with the trifle. So Phoebe and Joey are kind of like floaters, which they could have just had them in the episode not really doing much. But then when it gets to the rants, like all the secrets coming out and then Judy giving advice, they wanted to have everybody in there except for Chandler. So they had to have something for Joey and something for Phoebe. So they wove in the dancer party for Joey and the dream stuff for Phoebe. But even though I'm sure that was written so they could have something to say, it doesn't feel shoehorned in. Like they bring it up just enough that it feels organic for those guys.
Yeah, the dance party, lunch, whatever, it gives motivation to why no one is bringing this up with Rachel. And the other motivation of not wanting to hurt her feelings, that's also natural for this friend group. Mm-hmm. And so it makes sense when it becomes a bigger thing for everyone. Yeah. But it also makes sense why they wouldn't like immediately be like, oh, this is a problem. Like, well, we can't leave till this is gone. So we've got to stick around for the dessert.
Yeah, exactly. And just playing on the Rachel being incompetent when it comes to anything that involves work. Outside, like she's competent at her job, but anything involving housework, it's just like playing on that, like how Monica does all of that basically.
Yeah. I always also appreciate good writing in an episode when you can take multiple stories. And let's be honest, like Phoebe having dreams, that's not really a story arc, but it is something for her. And it's something that pops up. And Joey wanting to leave isn't so much a story arc. It is a B plot or a C plot, I guess, technically. But this is an episode that all the plots interweave. And there is, at the end of the episode, everything has had a logical conclusion. And you don't always have that with some of these sitcoms. Sometimes you have these B plots that never interact with the A plot and they stand alone. And that's fine. But I do appreciate when a show can weave all of them together and just put a nice bow on everything all at once.
Yeah. And with the show like Friends, you have your 6 characters. There's usually like an A plot and a B plot, sometimes a C plot, where you have like, okay, this is a Monica and Chandler story. We're doing something with Ross and Joey. And then sometimes you end up with, okay, we have our main characters, then maybe like a lot of times Phoebe is the one who's left out. It's like, well, we need something for Phoebe, or Phoebe and Chandler, or there's a couple characters that aren't really part of the story. So they just gave them something super random to do. And a lot of times that becomes really entertaining. Like, even though the episode is called the one with the cheesecake, I imagine they're like, okay, what can Rachel and Chandler do? They could eat cheesecake off the floor. Cool, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the great sitcoms do this well, of giving a B plot that's just as good as an A plot, and especially when they can bring them together too. You know, I go back to it's kind of dumb, but it's The Office. The Office Olympics that they did. They were able to tie both the Olympics happening at the office in with Michael having a closing on his house and not feeling good about it. And so when they had these final ceremonies in that episode and they let Michael be on top and feel like, oh, good, I did so good with closing my house, and to actually feel a little bit, or condo, to feel a little bit better about the financial decision he was making. Like, that's a nice thing that they did for him, even if that was a terrible decision he ended up going with. But it tied both storylines together and it felt natural.
Oh, it did, for sure. And even though you know it's ridiculous, you feel for Michael.
Yeah. So this is great writing. There's a reason why Friends stuck around as long as it did, and it's not just this episode, but this is an episode that is very good example of how the writers know what they're doing, and how the actors, they can take lines like "Not Truth Day" and make it really good.
Yeah. So Matt, when did you start watching Friends? Did you watch it when it was on at all? When it was originally airing?
I think I was watching it on reruns in syndication when maybe it was in its 8th or 7th season.
About the same with me. I caught for sure the last 2 seasons live, maybe some of season 8, somewhere like the last bit of it I was watching it live. Other than that, syndication, and then that was the first show that I got all of on DVD, and I still have. Like I mentioned earlier, I watched it on DVD. And so when I think of these shows that I've binged over and over again, a lot of times my mind goes to like The Office, Parks and Rec, Community, How I Met Your Mother. Friends predates all of those, not only with being on the air, but with me watching them. Like, this for a while was like the number one no contest show for me before I started watching all those other ones, which now they're all in the mix. And so just the staying power, like the show's been on for over 30 years, and now I've been watching it for most of that time. And I'm still like, I binged through all of Friends last year. Like, I'm still watching it.
My very first sitcom, though I was too young for it to stick in my head. So the first one that I remember, because I would watch with my family, we'd watch a couple different shows. And so we'd watch shows that weren't sitcoms, like Touched by an Angel or Star Trek Voyager, things like that. But the very first sitcom that I watched was Coach. And the very first sitcom that I watched that actually stuck in my head and I remembered episodes of was Home Improvement.
Okay.
And so
I watched that one too.
I had that one from a young age, but this was 6 years after I started watching Home Improvement. I was watching that with my parents, and so my tastes had changed a lot in that time. And I think I watched Everybody Loves Raymond. I started watching that before I started watching Friends, because for those of you who grew up in the streaming digital era, we didn't have as much selection on stuff we could watch. No. And so you might be watching something at night or be like, it's 9:00 at night and I want to watch something before bed or 8:30 or whatever. And they'd have like the local news. And then after the news, they'd have a syndication of Everybody Loves Raymond, or they'd have a syndication of Friends. And you'd be like, have I seen this one? Oh, I haven't seen this one. Let me watch it. So you kind of watch them out of order, but it didn't really matter to watch them in order for the most part with these sitcoms.
I don't. Is this a Minnesota thing? Did you have the station 45 in Nebraska?
I don't know what that.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, basically, the jingle would be like 45. It would go like that, and they would show like Friends and Third Rock and all these shows, and that's how I watched a lot of the Friends episodes. But it was on that station, but realizing that was a Minnesota station.
Yeah, it was probably a local affiliate, and so I had a different local affiliate down in Omaha.
Yep. But I remember. When I was in high school, Monday night, it was I was always excited to watch the new Everybody Loves Raymond and the new 2.5 Men when they were on. I only watched 2.5 Men for maybe 2 or 3 seasons, and then I kind of fell off of it. But I stuck with Raymond till the end. Those were the 2 big Monday night CBS shows that I caught up.
Speaking of Chuck Lorre shows, and then this will be the last thing before we jump into trivia.
Yeah.
My wife has been watching because she got to a point of like, I don't have anything to watch. What should I watch? She started watching Young Sheldon.
Oh, it's a good one.
Young Sheldon is much better than I would have given it credit for.
Oh, yeah.
I did not really like Big Bang Theory all that much. It's funny at times.
Yeah.
I don't like it as much as the general populace does. And it's just very unrealistic and very sitcom-y.
Yeah.
But Young Sheldon actually has brought a level of reality, even though it's an exaggeration, sure. Mm-hmm. It brought a level of reality to Sheldon's character and his family, and there's some good emotional beats and a good emotional heartbeat of it that I ended up really appreciating. And I thought it was much better of a show than I would have ever thought.
Oh, yeah. I watched all of Young Sheldon, and if you want to do an episode on it, I'm all game for that. The thing that I like about it is they did a retcon, which is good, with Sheldon's dad, because when they're making Big Bang Theory, they never thought they were going to make Young Sheldon. And Sheldon's dad was dead. So they're like, we're going to just make all the jokes. Oh, he was a drunk, bad dad, all that kind of stuff. And then in Young Sheldon, you don't want to have a completely unlikable dad as it for your family sitcom. So they make him, he is a bit of a doof sometimes. He does drink, but he is like a guy who cares about his family and is trying to do his best. They make him an actual likable dad instead of the jerk that he was spoken about in early episodes of Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot of how Sheldon paints his family members, but I ended up really liking Missy. I like her no nonsense, or like her, she's just kind of there for it. Like she'll have these lines where it's like, this is what's going on. I'm just rolling with it. I really enjoyed that demeanor she had.
Yeah. And then we'll have to see afterwards. We'll have to see what you think about Georgie and Mandy's First Wedding, which is the spin-off from Young Sheldon, which takes Georgie, his older brother, and talks about his life.
Yeah.
So far, that's more sitcom-y.
And apparently Mandy is played by Haley Joel Osment's sister. So there you go.
Yep. Some of us think of her as Lily from Hannah Montana.
That's what Angie said. She's like, she's actually from Hannah Montana. I'm like, well, shut up. She's and then also Wallace Shawn is utterly fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
There's so it's really funny to see Rex be dating Bo Peep in the show.
Yes. There's a scene in Young Sheldon where Wallace Shawn plays Dr. Sturgis, this like old scientist guy, and him and Sheldon are working on this project, and they're doing a pitch meeting to get funding or something, and Sheldon just mentions like, yes, my mother said it's okay if I do this, and then Wallace Shawn or Dr. Sturgis is like, and my mother's long dead, so we're okay here too.
I just saw that episode this week.
Yeah. Like, read the room.
Oh, he doesn't know how to. he's just so delightfully naive and innocent. He's just really a fun guy.
Yeah. And actually,
I like his Gorp line, like when he was going to take Mima hunting or hiking.
Yeah.
It's like, I brought good old, or no, he was going on the camping trip with them. I brought good old raisins and peanuts. Gorp. You want the recipe? I think I can figure it out.
And to bring it back to Friends, Mandy, who is dates Sheldon's brother Georgie, played by Emily Osment. She was on an episode of Friends in the later seasons when Rachel is pregnant, and she's one of the girls who trick or treats to the apartment.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now the more you know. Knowing is half the battle. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's enough for young Sheldon, and that's also a wrap on the one where Ross got high.
Yes.
Let's jump into trivia. Brian, was it last week's that you had?
Yes. So last week we talked about Survivor All-Stars, and we said, what future Survivor contestant can you see in the season? And that would be Rupert's wife, Laura, who will play Survivor herself in season 27, which is Survivor Blood versus Water.
I won't ruin much of Vanuatu because I'm only 2 episodes in, but this season feels very similar to the start of the Survivor Amazon because especially they split them up into men versus women. And the first challenge, there's a balance beam, and there's one team that one person has to keep going on the balance beam over and over and over and over, and just completely like screws their team over because of how much they have to go on this balance beam. And I'm like, where have I seen this story before?
Also, after the All-Stars Richard Hatch and Sue thing, I thought they would steer clear of balance beams for a little while.
What they did they were like balancing things, but they were,
they weren't going past each other.
Yeah. Well, this one in episode 2 has a challenge where they go past each other on balance beams, like actually on the balance beam, and they have to like hold on to the person as they're going by them on the balance beam. So they actually get them even closer together. So they really leaned into it, is what I'm saying.
Well, I hope they at least made everybody keep their clothes on.
Nope. They asked them all to take pants off.
All right.
So here's my trivia for today. That's what we're waiting on, not awkward naked comments. All right, so in this episode, Joey and Ross are playing PlayStation when Chandler walks in on them early on in the episode. What game are they playing? They don't talk about it. They don't highlight it. You just have to know from looking at the screenshots what game they're playing on PlayStation.
But they did make sure to mention the brand name PlayStation for that product placement.
They did. For that sweet, sweet product placement. Well, come to Papa. On that note.
Yep. On that note, Matt, why don't you tell them what we're doing next time?
The 200th episode? What? All right, so that is coming up next. 200th episode. It is going to be the holiday season. It's our 200th episode. We got to have some fun. We're going to have a couple guests on here. I'm going to come up with some Christmas TV themed trivia. We're going to have them compete. We're going to see if Brian can beat our guests and if he knows more about Christmas TV shows than they do. And if he doesn't, then he actually doesn't get to be a host anymore. He gets traded out with someone else. So maybe someone who can actually do improv.
But do I still have to edit the episodes?
Yes, you do, obviously. No one else can edit like you can, baby.
See, Matt, I didn't fight when Matt came up with the idea of you hosting and me being one of the contestants, because that means you have to do all the work.
Oh, I got it. This is where I thrive, is coming up with this sort of stuff. So.
Well, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see how I rank in amongst our guests.
All right, so make sure you're there for that. And then you can kind of play along with them. You're not going to get the points that they do, but you can play along and see if you know these answers and if you are smarter than they are. Well, until next time, I'm Matt.
I'm Brian.
And don't miss our 200th episode. Stay tuned and keep watching.